Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a second podcast from Byte Gaming with me, Snare, and
me, not Snare.
You never like saying your name.
It's boring. It's got two letters. One of them's doubled up. It's boring.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. You're just weird. Well, hello to everyone out there in lovely listening podcast land, which is a nice place as far as I can tell from our first one.
Well, it's a nicer place now. We are entered into it.
Yeah, I mean, we published our last podcast last week. I think it was on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe it was.
And I forgot about that. Sorry. Excuse me. Yes, we must have beer when we talk on these podcasts. It's the law.
It is the law, and we don't fight the law because the law won.
They always will in the end. But yeah, we did our last podcast last week on Thursday, and the response has been pretty good. We've had a couple of likes. We're still a very small channel at the moment, but we are growing what feels like every week at the moment with new subscribers. So hello to you if you recently subscribed. Hello. It's very nice to have numbers, but what's more important is we have people that do come back and get involved with the content that we produce. And it seems to me that a lot of people seem to like our reviews, and certainly this podcast, which I was surprised about, actually, Lee. I was surprised about that.
Well, I'm a big drawer, so.
But I was surprised because, I mean, podcasts are the kind of thing you can switch on and just have in the background, but I've never really seen the draw of it.
Oh, no, I do. I listen to quite a lot of stuff in the shower. Like, I'll have people talking about creepypastas. In fact, I listened to our last podcast while soaping myself furiously. So,
wow, that's yeah, and we've just lost another listener. Well done there.
I keep doing that.
I know. Stop talking about your naked body in soap. It's just a simple rule, Lee.
I like it.
So yes, welcome, and let's get cracking on bits and pieces that we'd like to talk about today. We would like to do this as a bank holiday gift to you guys as well, because we're off work and we don't have anything to do, so we might as well make a podcast for you.
Well, seeing as I'm banned from being naked and soapy, I've got nothing to do now. No.
Absolutely. Right. So first thing I thought we could touch on, Lee. I don't know if you agree with this, but we would. I'd like us to talk a little bit about E3.
Okay, we could talk a little bit about E3. Yeah.
E3, as if you've been living under a rock in the video games world over the last, I don't know, fucking 20 years or whatever. This show, it happens every year where we get to be disappointed by lots of trailers.
Yeah, pretty much.
When the finished products come out. But I'd like to have a touch on E3 in this podcast because I'd like to talk about the stuff that we might, get to see, or stuff that we might get to have a bit more information about.
Okay, but you do realise none of it will be trustworthy.
Oh, absolutely. I'm fully aware, after being burnt many times, that it's not really factual. Mm-hmm. It's a bit like wanting to have a beef burger and then going to McDonald's.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's not real food, is it? I mean, if you want a beef burger, you get some meat, you make a burger. But if you just want to have the experience all superficial, like...
Who the fuck does that? Do you not have rustlers in your corner shop or what?
Well, that's just the same thing, mate. That's just fake food.
See, well, I eat rustlers, then I go to McDonald's, you see, and McDonald's is a step up. So you're just setting your targets far too high.
Are you just having some kind of McDonald's gangbang thing going on there?
I've never tried the McGangbang. It looks delicious, though.
What I would like to try, and this is completely tangenting off within 3 minutes of the podcast.
That was quick.
But there's, I think it's in Korea, or maybe Japan.
Is it the KFC that's like chicken instead of bun?
Yes, that's exactly it. I want that. I want to have like a burger between two bits of chicken. I think that'd be amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, you're the gourmet. Can't you just make one?
I mean, I feel stupid now because I just made a point of saying, "Oh, McDonald's is terrible,"
And
and
then you
then
go to KFC.
yeah, it's silly. I don't know where I was going with that point, but all I'm trying to put across is the fact that E3 is kind of a show. It's well, not kind of show. It is a fucking show.
Mm,
It's it's something that you have to take with a pinch of salt and maybe enjoy it, but not read into it.
it's kind of tough to not read into it when you're specifically brought there to be shown stuff from upcoming games. I just every year that we're all like, "Whoa, check that out! Watch Dogs looks amazing."
But it did look amazing. That's the problem. I
Yeah,
think
but it
that's
didn't
the
when it
problem.
come out though.
Well,
That's the problem.
when it came out, it almost did come out, didn't it? Um, it wasn't what people expected at all, at all.
Mm.
I still love my special edition, as I said last time, but the game was mediocre. Um, it was okay. It was good. It was mediocre to good. It wasn't anything like I was expecting. And I think it was the first big release that we were expecting to see on PS4 and Xbox One that was going to be amazing and shape the next generation. And it just didn't. It didn't.
Well,
I enjoyed.
it was never going to. That's the problem. It's not like the systems got weaker when the game came out. They knew when they used the E3 footage that okay, we can do this in a pre-rendered fashion, but if we do this in an open world, it's going to chug like shit.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem at the moment. I think with many many games, I think games on consoles have to stop trying to do photorealistic and incredible things like that because you're just setting yourselves up to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the PS4 is gaining popularity because of indie titles, not necessarily to triple A's.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great thing because what's more important in the game really?
Boobs.
No, it's not boobs, Lee. It's not boobs.
Yes, it is.
It's gameplay, and that's what video. If it was called video look at stuff rather than video games, then that might be a problem. But it's a video games. It's there to be gamed with, played with.
And yet we're both fans of Quantic Dream.
Well, we are fans of Quantum Dream because they do something different and they give you an immersion that you don't get from a lot of other games. You get with gameplay, it. Do you know about that state of flow? That thing called flow, where time goes really really quickly when you're in a certain zone, and
Yeah.
you're kind of
So it's if you have your hands on a hot pan, it feels like you've got on one for an hour. But if your hands are on a hot woman, it feels like seconds. I so got that from Deep Blue Sea.
maybe that's not quite what I was going for.
Oh,
But
okay.
no, flow is a state of consciousness. I'm not going to get too deep, but it's a state of consciousness where time goes really, really quickly because you're immersed in something and you're just in the zone. You're whether you'll be practicing playing the guitar and you lose 5 hours, or you'll be playing a game and you'll be losing 5 to 10 hours. That's what you are aiming for when you're playing games. Well, I do anyway. I'm looking for that immersion, and I think with games like Quantic Dream, they give you that immersion. Other games like Journey on the PS3. That was a nice escapism type immersion, but it was the gameplay that drew you in. Drew you in.
I must also point out that Quantic Dream did indeed give us boobs as well.
They did give us boobs.
So there you go. My argument stands proud.
I'm pretty sure this. We might have to justify this as a fact, but I'm pretty sure the one of the recent Dead or Alive, the DOA games, actually had a boob technician in their design team.
It wouldn't surprise me. There was a jiggle setting on previous games.
Yeah, that guy or that team or whatever was specifically brought in to make the boob jiggle accurate.
Yeah, the boob jiggle on them
I
isn't
shit you
accurate at all, though. That's the problem. They are all over the place. They're damn near on the verge of knocking themselves out.
Yeah, but there's somebody that got a job to do with boobs like that. That's just, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's it's an incredible job, isn't it?
Yes, I'm off to the office, honey. I have 30 million boobs to fondle today.
How would that ever fly? I have no idea.
Sorry, what?
Just thinking about them now, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Terrible. Well, I still can't get the fucking image of you soaped up out of my fucking brain. Thanks for that.
Stop thinking about it. You're weird.
It's messed up, dude. Messed up. So yes, E3. So we're all prepared around the world to be disappointed,
Hmm.
and I can't fucking wait.
I'm actually ahead of the curve, and I'm disappointed already.
Well, I think there's a bit of an uphill struggle here with E3 and what people are going to be trying to do because there are a lot of big names that have really fucked up last year or over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, you've got not active, Ubisoft, who just can't keep their foot out their ass,
Yep.
which is tricky. You ever
Yeah.
try that? Very tricky. And you've got CD Projekt Red, who have come under fire recently for a graphical downgrade to their latest game, which we may touch on at a later date.
Yes. But I think that all the big studios, people like Ubisoft, and I'm trying to think of another one that's really fucked up recently on the spot, and I can't actually think of another name. That's how bad I am right now. But
Ooh,
that-
Maxis.
yes,
They fucked up so bad they closed.
there we go. That's pretty well. So then it won't be at E3, will they?
No, but I mean, the shame there is I suspect it's EA's fault. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, EA did actually pull something out of the bag this last year, didn't they?
They did. What was it? I forget.
I'm trying to think, but I think no. I think it was were they involved with Shadow Mordor? Well, that was Warner Brothers.
It was Warner Brothers, yeah.
There was definitely a game they've done this year where I actually said, "Do you know what? EA have done a good thing."
I believe that may have been Inquisition.
Yes, it was Inquisition.
There you. I can't
Yes.
remember specifically why we said EA did a good thing though.
Well, I think it's because they were attached to something that didn't suck balls.
I don't know. You would think.
Not in the derogatory gay thing type of sense. I just mean that it was. It just they just always are attached to things or do things that just rile people up. And
It's okay. Women can suck balls as well. You don't have to be a man to suck balls.
okay, thanks for saving me on that one, Lee.
You are welcome.
But in honest truth, there's not many things that EA are involved with that are great. And Inquisition was one of those lovely treasures that they must have been rubbing their hands red sore over the fact that they hadn't fucked that one up.
I still haven't finished that. It's been sat on my hard drive for ages now.
Well, it's a very good ending, and it's got a bit of a. I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry, guys. But it's a really good ending, and I think it could carry on potentially.
Oh, it's going to carry on. It's the third game in the franchise and was arguably the most successful. It's definitely going to carry on.
Interestingly, out of the 3 Dragon Age games, what are your order of preference? I think it's probably the same as mine.
3-1-2.
Yeah, exactly right. Well done.
I passed the test.
Pass the test, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go celebrate with a shower in a moment.
If you guys have never played, if you guys have never played the Dragon Age games and you're an RPG fan, just don't play number 2.
No, you got to play 2.
No. You don't have to play 2.
You do. Just prepare to be disappointed. Don't expect too much of it.
I'm trying to save these people's time and money, Lee. Don't buy number 2.
Buy it on PC. It's cheap as chips.
If you can get it for free or they can pay you, it's probably okay.
It was worth it for what's her face, Meryl. She was funny.
She was funny, but then you had that really annoying Anders bloke that didn't stop humping your leg.
You turn around, he'd just be there watching you. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, if you make a cup of tea and turn around, he'd be there with a sad po face on, going, "Nobody loves me."
And then he'd turn around and present.
Yeah, dude, all these horrible images. I'm like, this, we don't have to put like an adult warning on this fucking podcast. This is not good. It's not good. So yes, back on point. E3 is coming. Oh, that was terrible phrasing, wasn't it? Just after that, E3 is going to be happening, and there's quite a few games that are coming out that I'm excited about, but not in the E3 sense because it's I'm excited about the stuff that's coming out soon, rather than look what we're going to do in 3 years' time.
Well, I mean, the only big game I can think of that's coming out soon-ish is Arkham Knight, and I'm not particularly jazzed for that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that game is not being made by the same people that the other
It
ones was.
it is. It's not being made by the same guys that did Origins, which is the worst of the first
The
three.
Rocksteady.
It's gone back to Rocksteady, and they're the ones that did one and
Okay.
two.
So I have played the first one. I think I played the second one. Yeah. But I haven't played the recent because I think there's three and this is the fourth.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's very much a do-over of what's come before. But you do get to
Okay.
play as like Deathstroke in the arena, so that's pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'm fairly excited for that because they're always, well, not always because the last one wasn't probably, but when the first Batman game came out, it was refreshing. It was clean. It was polished. It had a very good kind of reception and it had a good life with my sort of gaming time anyway.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to see what they do with the next one, especially as it's going back to the original guys who probably have got a better kind of handle on doing Batman games than anyone else.
Yeah, I'd say so, but I mean, Batman's just so oversaturated at the moment that I'm just not really looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to play pretty much like all the other games with some driving sections. And to be fair, after the Nolan trilogy and the new one coming out, Dawn of Justice, and all of that, I'm just like, oh, go away, Batman.
Yeah, the weird thing is that although we probably had saturation of Spider-Man very recently,
Mm.
probably by Spider-Man 3, if I'm honest, um, I never got tired of seeing Spider-Man, and I think there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't get tired of seeing Batman in all its media forms.
Yeah, I would feel the same about Green Lantern, and look how that worked out.
Yeah, but I I like the Green Lantern film.
Dude, I own a Green Lantern ring, and I did not like the Green Lantern movie.
Well, that's because you're on the precipice there, aren't you? You're kind of you're so far fanboy that it's difficult to actually appreciate some popcorn film like that.
I think you were in the minority on that one, mate, even if you
Well,
take
look,
the fanboy element out.
I've seen both versions of the film. I've seen the theatrical version and I've seen the director's cut version, the extended version.
Hmm.
And that version makes sense. It works.
Yeah,
The
the director's cut is much better, but it's still not very good.
I mean, for me, I never before I saw the film, I didn't have too much knowledge of the Green Lantern. Might surprise a lot of you out there to think that I'm not a massive comic fanboy, but I do like comics. And to not
Oh,
be into
I think that's unfair. I think you are. It's just you're not really. You're more into subversive comics rather than straight up superhero ones.
I think that's true. But I think for me to say I like comics, people expect me to like, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man,
Mm.
etc. The big mainstream ones. I never really got into comics as a kid. I only got into them when I was a young adult, really. I had the disposable income to buy them.
Mm.
So I'm into things like Preacher, Walking Dead,
Transmet,
Transmat, yeah, Irreversible, or Irredeemable, sorry.
irredeemable. Yeah.
Irreversible was a horrible, horrible film. Never watch it. It's not a very nice film. Anyway, yeah, so for me, I came into watching the Green Lantern not having too much experience of the comic, and I had a great time. So,
If,
you know,
if you want to watch a good Green Lantern movie, check out the DC animated one called Green Lantern First Flight. That is exactly what that movie should have been,
I enjoyed
just
that too.
just with people.
I enjoyed that too. It's great. I mean, the whole universe of Green Lantern, I think it's been reimagined many, many times, hasn't it?
They did kind of. Well, they didn't really reboot it, but they rebooted the character
Yeah,
of Hal Jordan.
and I think that probably is a good thing because it keeps it fresh and keeps people that are into it, reading something new, and that's important in comics.
Mm.
But yeah, again, we are diverging.
A little bit.
So yes, Batman's coming out. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think it'd be interesting to see, and I'm not gonna probably give too much away now, but suffice to say, I'm looking forward to it coming out.
I'm still meh. I mean, I've never played like the previous three games and gone, you know what this needs? A racing section.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that works.
I mean, if you look at all the other Batman games that have had racing sections in, or I think one of them was basically a racing game, they aren't very good. So I'm just like, why do that?
Well, interestingly, racing games seem to be the hardest one to really take off in terms of games. I mean, we've had many kind of attempts at it, and I think the most successful to date is probably Forza.
Forza.
Forza, whatever,
Forza.
however you're supposed to pronounce it. But I think that's probably the most successful because it's on what, number five, number six?
Yeah, and then you've got the oh shit, what's it called? It's right over there. I could go and get it. They do the off-road ones as well, like the open world ones, not just the track-based ones. And Horizon. There we go.
Well done.
Yes,
That was
dredged it up.
But yeah, I know. I think strangely, I think. I mean, obviously, we're not going to forget Gran Turismo. That would be silly to forget them. But
I prefer Forza, definitely.
from my experience playing Forza and GT, yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Forza is probably more fun to play.
It comes down to it. It's a lot more scalable. So I'm terrible at racing games, but I can play Forza because I can scale it right back to the point where it's basically driving for me almost. I just hold down that fucking accelerator.
Yeah. So you like having a choice of difficulty then? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at racing games, so it's frustrating to play like Gran Turismo when, you know, I can't actually play the game because I can't do the fucking license tests.
Do you know what you're saying?
Do I know what I'm saying?
Do you know the ironicness, the irony of what you're saying?
Did they get rid of the license tests?
No. What I'm saying is that this is my exact view on Bloodborne.
No.
But why don't you just, get better at what you're doing on the game, Lee, and just enjoy the achievement, the sense of achievement from driving properly?
Because that's not why I play driving games.
Ah, there we go. Oh.
But that is why I play Bloodborne.
I'm not going to change this podcast into a Bloodborne bash because all I'm pointing out is that, different strokes for different folks. That's the saying, isn't it? And I think that's a case in point. I really enjoy driving games, and I quite like playing them on a higher level of difficulty than most other games because it's just easier. I mean, it's more of a challenge, but most of the time driving games just need the same kind of challenge. I think maybe that's where they fall down. But whereas you have a game like Bloodborne, which is a specific kind of game, and the level of difficulty needs to be there, which it's not, and that was my point. But yeah, driving games in general, I think they really have a problem of really breaking through, and there's only been a few niche kind of games because they're made for kind of petrol heads and fanboys of the brands of cars.
Mm-hmm.
And GT was a classic point of example where somebody they didn't even let you damage the cars in GT5.
Yeah, I remember.
And whether that's down to a developer sort of decision going, we haven't got time to do this properly.
No,
we've got to get it out.
That'd be down to licensing deals, I imagine, that they don't want their cars fucked up and displayed like that, which is fucking stupid. But
yeah, well, I mean, you've got to know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, do you want the free marketing essentially, or whatever, or not?
Yeah, I mean, people like Ferrari, they actually do their own games. So I've actually got one which has got Tiff Needell in the tutorial. But it's just basically all of the Ferraris, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just funny to me because I mean, there's a lot of other sort of game types that you would think they wouldn't last very long, but they've outlasted something like, well, not outlasted, but they've performed better than a driving game. I mean, I guess it appeals to people's way of playing games. My first thought was something like Angry Birds. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
real fucking basic game, but my God, did that thing take off?
Yeah, but the reason it took off is it was free.
Well, I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't when I got it.
Yeah, it was when I did. But now you can pick it up for your Xbox for like 30 quid.
Yep.
Like Angry Birds Star
version?
Wars.
Yeah,
Star Wars.
yeah.
Although I played that for free on my Android, so I wouldn't feel ripped off at all.
Yeah, I'd hate to spend money on things like that and find out you find it free elsewhere.
Yeah,
it
that'd be
actually,
annoying, wouldn't it? Like if we were doing like a low budget series, say, and we picked some games up that were basically ports and cheaper on the other systems. That would be annoying.
I can't think of what you mean, Lee. Maybe it will be the upcoming edition of our Underbite series, which we can probably do a
Well,
little plug here.
I think it might be worth doing a little bug here since you've spent today working on it.
Well, guys, we are doing a series. We've already produced one video for it
Hmm.
called Underbite, and it is basically us picking at random three games from Steam, and then having our first impressions and sort of a mini gameplay session with it.
Yeah,
And I think the videos have done quite well so far. Or the first one did quite well.
yeah. I think I got something like 20 views.
Yeah, which does it sounds really bad if you think we're some kind of big shots. We're not.
Yeah, that's pretty good for us.
Yeah, I mean our best video to date is Bloodborne in
It's
terms of views.
83, I think,
Yeah,
currently.
which is not bad at all. But the Underbite series is a fun thing for us to do, and it should always be something we're having fun doing. I never want it to be something that feels like a chore. Just like having a conversation with Lee, that's a chore, but it's a necessary evil.
Thanks.
Only kidding, man. But yeah, the Underbite series is doing really well in my heart. It feels like a labour of love. But just to point out that when we do these kind of three playthroughs, I've stuck the raw footage together this morning, and it comes out at over an hour. So I've got to squish that down as much as possible. So you guys have the choice to watch some of it rather than go an hour and then leave. So post us down a message down in the comments if you have any particular games that you want us to do as part of the Underbite series, because although we're doing it at random, I really would like to stop doing ports.
Yeah, ports. We've come across quite a few now. I think there were 2 out of 3 in the last one, or was it all 3?
Certainly the second game was.
No, the one I played first wasn't, was it? It was.
No, we only had the one. Only had the one.
Yeah, so it was 2 out of the 3 reports.
Oh no, 1 out of the 3 reports, I think.
No, it was because.
Oh no, yes, 2 out of 3. Yeah, I'm not trying to give too much away.
Yeah,
We want
exactly.
you to watch it. We want you to watch it. But we 2 out of 3 of them were ports, and it's just painful to play a port on a PC.
Especially when you pay twice as much as you would have on Android or iOS.
Yeah. So Steam, if you're listening, or Valve rather, if you're listening, sort your fucking life out, please. I don't even have a Steam account, so you can't do anything to me, you wankers.
I love you, Steam.
See, the 2 views you get from Overbite Game. What are you doing?
Oh, that was a cascade of beer as I pulled another one out of box.
Fabulous. You're drinking faster than me, so I'm not going to try and catch up.
Oh, there's a news flash.
We won't we won't get through anything if we're both sozzled by like the first half an hour.
Yeah, I become more entertaining, I feel.
I think the word you're looking for is bearable.
Fuck off.
So, Lee, what other games are you looking forward to in the next couple of months then?
To be honest, Attack on Titan on the 3DS, that's it.
Attack on Titan. Isn't that the anime thing?
Yeah. They've had a few games in Japan, and one of them's finally being ported to the Western audience.
Ooh.
But it's held up for the UK release because licensing issues, apparently, which is fucking annoying because it's due this month.
Yeah, they really need to sort that out, don't they? There's a lot of things that have kind of fallen by the wayside because of licensing. And not just games either, everything.
It's like, I really, really fucking hate that the Avengers is Avengers Assemble for us. It's just so fucking cheesy.
Well, the other thing that really pisses me off, that's not to do with gaming, is if we didn't have these licensing problems, we would have a much better Netflix.
Absolutely. I watched this guy called Sissel Trachtenberg. I mean, he does a really good. I'll plug his show actually. He does a really.
Put a little link. Put him a little link in the window in the video.
He does a really good show called Good Bad Movies, where he reviews like movies that are low budget and fairly terrible, but that he enjoys. And he also does Netflix sort of recommendations. So he basically gives you like 3 or 4 recommendations on Netflix, describes them, And every fucking one, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. It's not
Where is it?
available. Yeah. Every time. It's really annoying because he like talks up. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Oh,
Yeah, it is. It is very irritating.
I do have a specific Netflix tale which occurred recently though on the UK Netflix, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had The Omen Part 3, the final conflict, the one with Sam Neill in it. That's been on there for yonks. And then they added The Omen, the first one. Not the remake, the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that and I'm like, well, I don't want to watch 3 because I want to watch 2 first and like watch it through. Although I've seen them all before. And then they released 2, The Omen Damien. So watch that. I'm like, now we'll watch 3. Where is it? It was fucking gone. They put the first one and removed the third one.
Yeah, we don't know how that works on Netflix. I mean, there's plenty of series. I think you had the same problem with Star Trek, didn't you? There was season 4 was up, but they removed 2 and 3. So you had like season 1 and then season 4, something weird like that.
Yeah, I can't remember which specific ones they removed, but yeah, they put like a load of the later seasons on and took off a load of the sort of front ones. And you're like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm split between. It is vaguely gaming related because you can access these services from your console.
Absolutely can.
I really do like the access to a number of applications like that on the PS4. I think the only difference really between the Xbox One and PS4 is you get Skype on Xbox One.
Well, yeah, and sort of voice control out of the box. Well, not anymore, I suppose.
You get voice control on a PS4, but not.
You have to buy the separate camera, but they've started packaging it without it.
You can use a headset. It's fine.
Oh, of course you can. Yeah, you're right.
So, boo sucks to you. But no,
it is awesome though. I mean, I was sat here playing The Witcher 3 earlier today, watching Supernatural. A time I went out, I was just like Xbox pause, bleep, off I went. It's lovely, but to be honest, I'm not sure I would have paid £100 for it.
No. No, I like the fact that we now have Spotify available through the PS4 and I think through Xbox One too as well. That doesn't make sense to say 1 2.
I'm not sure. Haven't really looked. Not really into the music apps because I don't. The only time I use music is on the go, so I'd only be interested in something like that for my phone, and then I'd be streaming and.
Yeah, but Spotify's on there, Amazon Prime or the Amazon Instant Video, which I get free because I'm an Amazon Prime person.
Well, you don't get it free. You just pay more money nowadays for Amazon Prime.
Oh, I don't. I'm frozen at a certain price for a couple of years.
You some bitch.
Same as Netflix. I'm frozen on the price of Netflix until 2017, I think.
Yeah, I'm on the Netflix one, but I just recently got back to Prime because I've had 2 trials, primarily for the deliveries because I buy a lot from Amazon. And the first order, okay, order that, come next day. No, it came the day after the next day, so I'm like, I may as well just pay for first class.
It's just you, mate. I've never had a problem with their deliveries.
I had that with 2, and but to be fair, I'm using it now, and I think I've had 1 miss, and this is out of probably about 50 separate packages, so yeah, that's okay. And like they delivered today on a bank holiday. I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Well, it's our tax dollars and tax pounds at work, obviously, because they don't pay any other fucker. But if they're providing a good service, it becomes questionable whether you want to push them on it or not. It's a bad thing. They should be paying more tax if they're working here, but they do a good fucking service and get stuff to me within fucking 24 hours. It's incredible.
Yeah, I love the delivery service, but I'm unimpressed with the actual the online delivery of videos that you get for Amazon Prime because a lot of it's really sort of baiting you into paying more money.
Yes.
So you'll have like the first season of something you can watch for free,
Arrow,
and then, for instance, and then have to pay for the subsequent seasons. Yeah,
season 3 is now on Amazon Instant Video. £25. Oh. Anyway, that's
to be honest, season 3 is not as good as season 2, so make up your own mind on that one.
I'll just wait for maybe to find a cheaper Blu-ray edition or something of a box set when they stop making it, maybe. I have to say I like the series, and I really got into it. So much so I bought the second series on Amazon Insta Video for £24, and I wanted to watch it, so it was fair enough. But I definitely think it's probably worth waiting for to follow on.
Yeah, if the Flash is on there, get that immediately because it's fantastic.
I will do. I will definitely get involved in that when. Well, hopefully I'll get the first season for free. So at some point, maybe
You
not.
would
Maybe
hope.
they've cottoned on now that it did quite well. So damn it, we lost all that revenue. Greedy, greedy, rubbing fingers together.
Yeah, but the Flash is excellent. This season, it's been so much better than Arrow has been. I've still enjoyed Arrow, but Arrow's kind of back, sort of the quality wise, it's like about the same as the first half of the first season, where it was sort of finding its feet and wasn't as good.
Hmm.
And like season 3 felt kind of like that. There were still cool moments, and it was still a good show, and I enjoyed watching it. I wouldn't, I'll buy it when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
But wasn't as good as season 2. Season 2 was epic with, was it Manu Bennett as Deathstroke? He was
yeah,
fucking awesome as Deathstroke.
yeah. He reminds me of like some other characters as well, but he was perfect in that.
Hmm.
But anyway, let's get back to talking about games, Lee. That's what we're here
Yes,
for.
games.
So, a game I'm looking forward to seeing more of is No Man's Sky.
Mm, I'm interested in the concept, but I don't have faith they'll pull it off well.
See, this is the kind of thing that E3 does to you. Because of E3, we've probably, as members of the public, known about this for quite some time now. This game is coming, but
Mm.
the premise behind it, if you're not aware of what No Man's Sky is, it's what's the phrase? It's a game that generates as you play. I can't remember the phrase for it.
Procedural.
That's the one. It's a procedurally generated game. So as you're flying around and visiting planets, because you're based as some kind of space commander jobby, explorer type, you can go down to a planet and it's all kind of coded together as you arrive. So what you see is almost like no one else has seen it, and it's really ambitious. I'm really excited for it because I just want it to work. I want it to be fantastic. Um, I'm behind them because I think it's not a massive studio doing it, is it?
I don't think so.
I-
Give me a second with the magic of the internet, and I can tell you
Time
who
to
exactly it was.
research. But yeah, I think it's not like a AAA studio set up and some massive company doing it.
No,
I
it's
think
Hello Games.
Hello Games. I think they've done some other things before. That name rings a bell. What have they done before, Lee?
I'm getting a
Come on.
Wikipedia as fast as I can. Shut up. They have done 2 games before, and they were both pretty good, actually. You have Joe Danger and Joe Danger 2, the movie.
Now, Joe Danger games were fun, so slightly less procedurally generated than No Man's Sky plans to be.
I would say slightly less ambitious as well.
Yeah. But I have to say those games were quite well polished and they worked. Didn't
Oh,
have
you enjoy this?
problems.
The headquarters is in Guildford.
Really?
Yep,
We have a UK homeboy.
apparently. So we know exactly where to go when we need to firebomb the place for it being shit.
Well, guys from Hello Games, hello. If you are watching this and anyone who works for them is watching this, we would love to meet up and do an interview at some point because that would be great.
Yeah, fat chads.
Yeah. Oh, don't ask, you don't get. So,
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about No Man's Sky. I think it's something that, as always, if it gets pulled off, if they can pull something like this off, it'll be incredible.
Yeah, I'm more skeptical because being a PC game, we get a lot of that sort of game, and they always promise, and you're like, oh, yeah, brilliant, and then you play the game, and you're like, yeah, you haven't quite worked out how to do it, have you?
Yeah. The problem is that people making games generally, I get the feeling that if you could take pieces of all these different games of their really really good bits, you could try and mangle it together to become a perfect game.
And you end up with Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter.
But you would generally have like some parts of games you go, they've done this fucking amazingly, and you go to another game and you've got so used to having the good part of this other game, you come to the new game, you're like, oh, why don't you do it like they did? and it always feels like that someone's missed a trick.
Yeah, but that's generally because they have.
Okay, thanks for Captain Bleeding Obvious there. But what I'm trying to say is that as the public, as you, me, and everyone listening, when you're playing a game, you're experiencing all these different games. If you're lucky enough to be able to play all these different games, and as you're experiencing them all, you're doing your own market research about what works and what doesn't. And maybe the developers or the designers don't spend enough time being the public.
Um, no, I think it's. I don't think it's a case of them not knowing what works. I think it's more about constraints placed on them either by budget or by timescale that affects what they can do in the game. I don't think there's any developer out there that doesn't know how to do a certain type of game correctly because he's played it before. Any developer plays other games. It's part of the lifestyle.
Well, you'd think that, but the amount of work that some of these development houses have to do, I doubt that some of them have probably touched a game for fun in the last 3 to 5 years if they're working on a big project.
I highly doubt that. I really do. I mean, it's like we go to work, we work fucking hard, and we come home and we game. I mean, I'm using a PC all day. What do? I come home, I sit in front of a PC.
Yeah, but there's doing work on a PC, then there's playing games. That's
Yeah.
different.
Well, they didn't take solitaire off of my PC at work, so yeah.
But I think that's the case that if you are doing something as a job that you don't have time to switch off, it's dangerous. And I think a lot of people doing that kind of development work are going to be wanting to switch off when they get home.
Oh Christ!
I mean,
See,
develop.
now you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, developers are well known. Any kind of coder or programmer, they would be at times when it's deadline driven, working through the night, living off fucking Red Bull and cornflakes.
Yeah, but that's at the end of the project cycle, isn't it? They don't do that all the time.
But it's got to take an emotional toll on you, and therefore it will make you kind of not want to play games because you're like, all I'm going to do is I'm going to see I'm going to get on Matrix on it and see the lines of code where they could have done this or they haven't done that, and it's tripping up because of that, and they take their work home with them. I think they spend most of their time not playing games when they're not working, and I think that's the catch-22. They want to go into that industry to play and become part of the gaming industry and make something awesome, and then they get pushed into a position where they have to work so hard they can't enjoy it anymore. So they've got to start listening to the public, and likewise the public have to tell the developers what they want and what they like and what they don't like, which happens via Twitter, the internet, which apparently I've put into two separate categories, and I don't know why I did that. But I'm not a complete pleb. I know the Twitter is on internets. But I think it's a problem that has to be addressed.
Well, I know that you've done one thing absolutely terrible in that tirade, and that is you've ruined my dream of marrying a porn star.
Well, because she'd never fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she would, but she'd be making it like a dress rehearsal or a training session.
The dream lives!
See what I do for you, Lee? No, so I like my tangents, but I think I've done quite a lot this podcast, so let's put back on track. So No Man's Sky is something I'm looking forward to. I'm partly cynical as well, but I've got hope in my heart that they are going to pull this off, and hopefully it will be incredible.
We can hope. I'm very cynical about it, to be fair.
So yeah, that's one game that I'm into and I'm looking forward to. I mentioned it last time, Just Cause 3, just because I like that series. I like Just Cause 2, loved it, and I can't wait to see number 3. Won't go too much into that this podcast because it'll be repeating what I said last time. Oh, if you want to see the last podcast, we'll put a link on the screen or in the description below, so check it out.
More editing for me, thank you very much.
Some text at the bottom, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, I'm speaking too much because I've got to catch up on my beer. So give us another game, if anything, that you're looking forward to. And if you're not, just tell me why not.
I'm not. because I'm a negative bastard.
You're a PC baron. That's one thing. And I guess
No,
you get new games all the time, so it's not really a big thing.
yeah, but I mean, generally when I find a game that I like, it's because I've bought it as an impulse buy. And, well, pretty much I buy everything as an impulse buy, but... Good man. And then it kind of takes me by surprise. I buy it because, like, you know, it's got some fairly good user ratings, and I play it, and you know, half the time I'm like, okay, this is terrible. This is when I get Snare to play on a shoot day. But the other times you'll find like hidden gems, and you'll be like, my God, this is really good.
That's when you get into connoisseur territory, isn't it?
Sir territory.
No, connoisseur.
Oh, connoisseur. I was saying kind of sir territory.
It's a bad line. Can you read me? Can you read me? No, what I meant to say was when you start loving something as a subject, or you know, like gaming, we like playing games. We've always played games our entire lives. We're lucky enough to be kind of the first generation who grew up with video games. That you start to you start to know the way things work, game design, how it is put together. You can start to see it a bit more objectively, but you also can appreciate games that you might not necessarily enjoy, but you can appreciate the craft of it being put together. Does that make sense?
So you appreciate Bloodborne, is what you're telling me?
Well, I appreciate what they've done. No, listen. I appreciate what they've done with Bloodborne, but it's just not a game that I enjoy because I wasn't allowed to be part of it because of the difficulty. That's not breaking the review for anyone. It's a fucking hard game, but it's something that I wanted to appreciate more and learn more about the world. I still know nothing about what's going on in that game because I haven't picked it up since. But for me, I can appreciate the level of time and effort gone into the game to make it something that they knew would be picked up well by the guys that played Dark Souls and Demon Souls and stuff like that. So it's fine. And I think as a connoisseur, just to be all pretentious, of games, that's important. And like you're saying about finding those hidden gems, I mean, when we did our last Byte video with that Santa's cleanup,
I
mean, for me, that was one of the most fun games I'd played for fucking months, really.
We'll get you around here. This place needs a Hoover.
But it was because it was just so simple and it was funny. And there was just, you know, it was just ridiculous, but it was a fun, ridiculous game, and I really enjoyed it.
Fair enough. I was less blown away by it, but I played like a precursor to it, like a different version, so I was already familiar with you mop things.
Yeah, but it was just fun. I think what I'd like to talk about now. It's not but it's talking about.
Don't make me make another video.
No, I know, and you're not linking to that one either, you bastard.
It's just a little bit on the screen. It doesn't take any time to edit.
Bastard. No, I'd like to talk about worst endings. It's something we talked about in the pub many times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were going to make a video about it. I think it's probably easier to do it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the premise?
Well, it was just basically endings for games that we felt either cheated by or we just felt wasn't in the spirit of the rest of the story, really.
Mm. Do you want me to kick off, or do you want me to kick off?
I'm going to kick off because I know exactly the one you're going to say first, and I want to say it.
Son of a bitch. Go on then.
Enslaved.
I was going to pick that one first, actually.
Oh, fantastic. Worked out nicely. Yeah, Enslaved was a fantastic character-driven game. I've got really into the relationship between Trip and Monkey. Plus, like, Trip is one of the hottest video game women ever in the history of the world. But I really got into their relationship, and at the end, it just kind of doesn't resolve it at all. It just, like, leaves it hanging.
I think what's important to note here is it's not a sexual relationship either. It's a really strong friendship.
I think I could see it going that way, but
it wasn't on screen
in the future. I think it would go that way in the future. But I think you're right; it was a really close friendship.
It was like a bit of an old Yeller type of, connection where it's a boy really loves his dog, and then bad things happen. it was that kind of connection you could see on screen. And it was not that I'm not giving anything away because it's not a case of someone dies, um, as in Old Yeller, but it was a connection between two characters that was almost unbreakable.
Yeah, from a literal and a mechanical standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it one of the worst endings?
Oh, it's just it doesn't. The relationship is what drives you through that game because you want to see the next cutscene and how it evolves, and it starts off they're very sort of adversarial because it happens the first 10 minutes of gameplay. She basically enslaves you with this headband, hence the name.
Yeah.
So they're obviously very adversarial, but as you go through the game and go through experiences with them, they become closer and closer and friends. And then you get to the point where you finish the game and you're like, okay, what happens to Tripper Monkey? You've not addressed it at all. You've just got off and done this left field thing that I wasn't expecting. But it does explain Andy Serkis. Yeah.
Well, he wrote the story, didn't he?
No. It was was it Danny Boyle? I'll have to look it up now. But it was an established proper writer.
You're going to find out now that it's actually Andy Serkis.
It's not Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis mocapped and voice acted.
Yeah.
Monkey. He did not write it. Written? Jesus shit.
Jesus shit.
Alex Garland. There you go.
Okay.
I think he's done. What has he done? Filmography: 28 Days Later, Sunshine, 28 Weeks Later, Never Let Me Go, Dread, and Ex Machina.
Ooh.
So you would expect him to be able to fucking finish it.
Well, maybe he just doesn't like endings.
Apparently not.
Well, I think we'll point out, I know we've just gone through our first one, but we're not going to give away any spoilers on these. Because that would be really bad form.
No, but I mean, seriously, don't. Any of these ones that we mentioned, if you're grinding through, you're going to see what happens. Just stay for the journey and don't worry about the destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to kick off with number 2?
Yeah, go ahead.
Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
That was going to be my first choice. For the main reason that the first game was new and fresh, and everyone pretty much to critical acclaim loved it.
Yeah, they hadn't beaten to death yet, so
yeah, and it was a really nice. I mean, when you look back at it now, it actually looks a little bit dated, but only in the fact that what they've done through the whole series of games is they've added stuff together, kept on adding bits to it. So the first one is a pure form of Assassin's Creed. It was, the game title was based on that story. It was simple but effective, and the experience of being a badass as Altair, it was just great. Okay, yeah, absolutely great. The whole the dual story mechanic. I mean, if you don't know the story of Assassin's Creed, then
God,
yeah,
you were lucky.
Yeah. You're probably in a minority, but basically, you access through DNA memories of your ancestors. So you have this dual world mechanic where you spend time in the real world, you spend time in Altair, your ancestor who was an assassin, running around and killing people. So, game's good. Everyone's happy. The problem is that I think they ran out of money because right at the end, you expect some kind of payoff because you've been grinding to collect certain things to give you some extra bits of information about the background to the whole situation in this game universe. And I mean, the end of the actual game is still okay. But what you get as a kind of reward for finishing is a fucking page of text. And that doesn't spoil it because I'm not going to tell you what's on the page of text. But man, did I feel really fucking bad. I felt like I'd been robbed of an ending.
I felt like I'd been robbed of a game.
No, I felt like I'd been robbed of an ending. It felt like someone had gone, like they got up their lovely new lined book that they started to write this beautiful story in, and at the end they ran out of pages and just scribbled on a post-it, oh, fuck it, just give them a page of text. That's what it felt like. It just didn't feel like it was put together at the end. It was rushed and, oh shit, we've only got 3 hours to put an ending together. I'll just give them a fucking page of text. They won't notice. We did.
Yeah, I mean, I was less impressed with the game. It was new and different, yes, but for me, I feel Assassin's Creed 2 was the game of the series. I
Yeah,
think that's when they really nailed it. They sort of rounded off the rough edges of the first one, and it hadn't become old enough that it was just rinse, recycle, and repeat.
yeah. It's strange to have worst endings on a fucking franchise of the first game, but to me, that at that point, I'm not sure if they were thinking of franchise. They must have been, but to me, it didn't feel like. If you look at any others, it's kind of given you a bit more to push on the franchise, and that first one felt like a full stop, much
Yeah, I
much
mean,
like Matrix, the Matrix films. First one was a full stop, and then the second and third were just like, oh yeah, we've been thinking about this all the time. Bullshit, fucking bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm calling bullshit on Assassin's Creed as well.
I thought Revolutions was okay.
That was for me. That was the best one.
What, better than the first one?
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed. For me, they'd really
No, no,
tamed
I'm
it.
I'm talking about the Matrix.
Oh right, okay. Crossed wires. Um,
Matrix 1 is brilliant. Revolutions is okay. Reloaded is just a bunch of chase scenes and that fucking guy in a chair.
oh, the architect.
The architect, yes, I preferred him much better when Seth Brundle was melting his hand and leg off.
Yeah, in The Fly. That was amazing, amazing, amazing.
John Getz, the gentleman's name.
Interesting fact. I can't watch The Fly 2 anymore because it makes me cry.
Yeah, me too, I can't. The dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Same as I Am Legend. I can't watch that either.
oh no, I can do I Am Legend.
And I just noticed I've probably spoiled two films for you guys. So
Well,
apologies.
the dogs aren't the protagonists, so not really.
What? They're not.
No.
Oh, never mind. You can buy a new one. Never mind. Um, so yeah, that was my choice of worst ending. Uh,
Time to do a mutual one?
I think it is an. Well, hold on. Careful what you say there, mate.
I wasn't propositioning you.
Okay, cool. Right, so our combined agreement in worst ending, which is probably no surprise to any of you listening at this point, is
No, I believe we've touched on it before.
yeah, is
Well, I would say Mass Effect 3.
hooray! It is, yeah. It's it would be stupid not to include it on the list. We both agree that it was not something that should have ever happened. But I'll let you run with this one, Lee, because I had my last entry. So you carry on.
Yeah, it was just devastating. It was having spent that long with those people, those
Yeah,
characters. I mean, by the time I finished Mass Effect 3, I'd replayed the first and second ones probably half a dozen times.
yep,
I'd gone through them repeatedly. You know, I'd carried it over to the second one. I went different playthroughs, went Renegade, all this. But I knew those characters inside and out, and like I actually felt that I'd spent so much time with them. Felt attached to them, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
And then you just get to the end, and you're just like, oh, well, this is my story, and you know, and I know it's an overused phrase, but you know, I know it's also sort of fallen out of favour recently, but I really did feel it was my shepherd. You know, the choices that I'd made had shaped the person that I was playing.
Yeah, I think it's more than that. I think that style of gameplay where you get those consequences and choices, you are that character. It's not a case of you playing someone. That person on screen is you.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I mean, you can argue against it because they've recorded lines for every outcome, so it's not you. It's just you've chosen a predetermined path that they've set in front of you. But
But it's
there's so many
but
that it becomes more personal.
it's like putting on some clothes. It's that when you put on your clothes maketh the man is the saying, isn't it? And it's true. When you put those clothes on, you'll although it's predetermined that t-shirt or that suit is pre-made. It's the thing you choose to put on, and that's what happens with those games. With Mass Effect, Shepard isn't Shepard anymore. He's Lee or he's Snare. It's he is you or she is you, depending on who you are. But it's not a character anymore. It becomes much more of a stronger bond that it becomes you. It doesn't become just a character you're playing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel the bond necessarily with Shepard, him or herself, because, yeah, he is an analog. He wasn't empty. I mean, the best example of an analog is, you hate to bring it up, but Bella from Twilight. Because she is an empty vessel. She is there for the viewer to go, right, I want to put myself in her place. That's why she has no personality at all. It's for all the fans to fantasize that they're in her place and they have the choice between the hot werewolf and the vampire guy.
I cannot believe on a podcast
Sorry.
you've brought in Twilight. I want to see lots of comments below bashing Lee for bringing that up, please.
They're terrible movies. I'm not suggesting anything different. I'm just saying she is...
Oh, so the books are right then?
I've not read the books. Trust me,
Thank
I've never
fuck for
touched
that.
it. I've got the collector's edition coming on Friday. No, I haven't. You're the one that does collector's edition, not me. But what I'm saying is,
way I do that.
she's a blank slate, so you don't find out anything about her. You don't know what she likes, anything like this. So the person can more easily insert themselves into the story in their mind,
Yeah.
because that's what they want to do. And for me, it carries over to Mass Effect in that, because I was more interested in the other characters, and Shepard was just a tool to like make me interact with them. So I wasn't really concerned with Shepard's personality as I was the people around me.
Yeah, I think it was one of those magical series for me. It just made me really care, like you said, just having a care for those other characters in the game that became more like family than just faces on a computer game. It was a strong bond.
I mean, the start of Mass Effect 2 destroyed me. I mean, seeing like the Normandy get... I mean, I replayed like the first one, spent hundreds of hours on the first one by that point. And seeing the Normandy get destroyed and Presley die and, you know, the future uncertain and then Shepard sort of floating off into space. This is not a spoiler, it's right at the start of the game. Fuck off. that just... I was so emotional about that. I was distraught about it. And then you sort of played the game and you brought it all back together and it was like, yeah. And then you went through the mission at the end and it was like, who I choose to do what matters, and they survive based on my choices. And then you get the third one and it's just like, nope, you're fucked.
How fucked would you like to be? It wasn't it wasn't a good outcome, really. But don't worry, Lee, because there's Mass Effect 4 coming out soon.
It was supposed to be a prequel, right?
I'm not sure, but you can pre-order it on Amazon right now. I believe. I'm going to check my Amazon account just quickly, but I think it's something that you can actually pre-order on Amazon.
No, I'm sure it is. I don't know where they're going with it now.
Probably straight down the drain. Let's face it.
Like,
sorry,
go ahead.
Go on.
Well, the ending of Mass Effect 3, they're like, this is the end of Shepard's tale. You know, you're not getting any more Shepard. But in some of the promo stuff I've seen for the new one, I'm pretty sure I've seen Shepard. So I'm kind of like,
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just covering art for now. It's not really something that's...
It's possible, but...
Not going to end. But do you know how much the pre-order is for... I've just put it up on my Amazon account, right?
Okay.
The pre-order price for Mass Effect 4 on the PS4 is $64.99. That's pounds for any American viewers, listeners, /
It's worth like a third more than dollars. So if you're paying $60 and we're paying £60, it's like between, 20 and 33%, I would say?
Yeah,
more.
Yeah, probably. It's just terrible. I mean... and the picture is of Commander Shepard basically behind a sign that says Mass Effect 4, and looks like he's got an eclipse happening behind him, and there's a little sign at the bottom that says not final artwork.
Have you got an oven timer going off or something now?
Do I have an oven timer? Probably.
There's something beeping.
That would be my servants cooking me dinner.
You mean your girlfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think she's out of earshot.
You just realised I've broken at least 3 YouTubers' hearts, sort of our subscribers, knowing that you're in a relationship.
I doubt that very much.
I don't know. Hugo was kind of set on you, to be fair.
Bless him. He's yours. But yes, Mass Effect 3 was probably the most disappointing out of the lot of them.
Well,
to me.
The end was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the journey.
Oh no! The game was great. The journey of the game is amazing. It was exactly what I wanted.
There was some weird creative decisions they took in the mechanics of the game, and like having to overhear conversations, not clearly marking where you need to go on your map, stuff like that. I was kind of like, I don't know why you've done that, but I mean, right up to the end, I was super into it. I was like, yeah, let's go, let's get the. I need to walk in a what now?
Yeah. Very, very strange. But
I mean the fact that basically you have a group of people that come up with an alternate theory on the ending, and it makes more sense than the actual ending.
Oh, that was amazing! I was really hoping they would make that a reality.
Yeah. The what was it? Shit.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it either.
It was the indoctrination.
That's
theory,
it. Indoctrination theory. Yeah.
Where sort of Shepard had been partially indoctrinated by the Reapers, and it was all fantasy.
It was all a dream.
And it made so much fucking sense. There were like fucking hour-long videos on YouTube sort of showing you basically proof that it made sense. And then BioWare were like, no.
Yeah. Let's face it, we're not going to ruin the ending, because if you weren't aware of the ending, or you managed to stay away from the ending, somehow you must have got around to playing it by now.
Yeah, I mean, they did sort of update it. They had an extended ending that they released. And it is better, because it explains some stuff which just make absolutely no sense, to be fair.
Yeah, but they also released something that I never got around to playing, which I must do at some point, and that's the Citadel.
Oh, it's amazing. That's where that game should have ended. That is basically... there's like mission. It's like a mission, but it rounds off with a big-ass party where you have all your crewmates around, and it's funny as fuck, and people getting drunk and falling asleep on pool tables and shit like that.
Exactly. So, they try to make good, but I think it's only because about 50 billion people, everyone on the planet had like 5 votes to.
Is that the Venusians as well then?
Yeah. But they really took up arms against the BioWare chaps, didn't they?
Yeah, but they so deserved it. That was... The ending felt so out of step with the rest of the story.
It was like someone spitting in your prison food, wasn't it? That's kind of the best way to describe it. When you say that you're not going to do something, and then you blatantly fucking do that, it's kind of in your face. Well, what are you going to do about it? Huh? What are you going to do? And the internet just sort of rose up and smacked them back in the face and knocked them out. In a way.
I mean, they didn't have to do the extended ending, so I'm pleased that they did. But, yeah, there are rumours that they had a completely different ending planned. The Dark Matter ending.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, supposedly leaked. So they sort of changed it around at the 11th hour, which could, explain the quality of the ending.
But what does it matter if you leak the ending of a game? And change it that late in the day? It just doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, you get scripts leaked all the time for movies, and they don't change it.
Well, no, because it's probably more expensive to change a movie shoot than it is to change a game.
I don't know.
Well, case in point,
could be expensive.
If you want a case in point, there's a Steven Seagal film that is terrible. I love Steven Seagal films, but there is one film that's terrible. It's called Attack Force, and it was originally about alien invasion. And because they ran out of money, and they couldn't pay Steven Seagal to do some redubs of lines and things, because they wanted to change the entire story.
Wait. This is most of his straight-to-video movies.
Yeah, but
he just basically refuses to do post-production stuff.
No, he does do post-production stuff, but the problem is that they changed the entire story, and he said, no, you're not doing that. And it ended up being this film about a drug lord poisoning the water, which apparently makes your eyes blink the wrong way, because there were aliens in the first one. but they didn't change it.
Blink the wrong way. What, from open to closed?
No, it's in like side to side rather than up and down. It was bizarre. It was fucked up. If you ever get a chance to see bits of it, okay, but don't buy it like I did, because you feel robbed.
Yeah, you've not sold it well, to be fair.
It's a terrible, terrible film. But yeah, it's that kind of thing where they obviously tried to change it last minute. It just did not work. But at the end of the day, if somebody knows the ending of a game, it's not the end of the world.
No.
So what? Some people know what's going to happen before it. The whole point is the experience of the game. It can ruin it for some people because they will know the ending by accident, or someone will go, "Oh, did you hear about so and so? They know the ending of the game. It's actually a thing and it happens over here and whatever." It's their fault, but it just doesn't mean you have to change everything and ruin it for everyone that is conscious that they don't want to touch anything to do with that game until it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, spoilers are always. I mean, as games becomes more cinematic, we're getting to the point where we're running the same risk as we are with movies, and that the trailers basically tell you everything about the movie.
Yeah, they're not trailers anymore.
No, it's just like a synopsis now.
Yeah, which is bad. It's bad, bad, bad.
I don't know. It saves me 3 hours of the next Transformers movie, I suppose.
Oh, I stopped watching that after the first one.
First one's bad. Everything else was worse.
Yeah, well, I'm very consciously that this podcast is going on quite some time now.
Yeah, it's what, an hour and 20, something like that.
Yeah, about that. And I think we've gone off on quite a few tangents, which is quite unusual. But there's one last thing I'd like to talk about, and you can shoot me down quite quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
The recent House of Wolves expansion to Destiny.
Yeah, fuck off. We're not talking about that. Go on. What have you got to say about this piece of shit?
Right. This is my only avenue to get this out into the masses because I know we'll never get around to doing a review of it because you hate it so much.
Oh, God, yes.
So I'd like to just take a quick moment to talk about the changes or the expansion that they've produced.
Okay, the floor is yours. Take it away. I'm going to take my headphones off and go for a piss. Not really. I'm going to stay here and suffer for it with everybody else.
No, I was just going to say, I touched on it very, very briefly last time talking about Destiny, that Bungie seem to be listening to the players. And what they've managed to do in this latest expansion is enable somebody that doesn't like to do PvP, your multiplayer online matches, a way to carry on playing the end game in what they call the Prison of Elders, which is a kind of arena-based waves of enemies type situation, and it enables you to get your loot and stuff that you need, etc.
Horde mode.
Kind of, yeah. So maybe it's something that I will sort of enter into doing a bit of let's play videos myself with Destiny. I don't know, but it could be interesting. It's whether you guys want to see it, really. So just to piss Lee off more than anything else, if you want to see any Destiny videos, I might do a couple as a test, but if you want to see any, let us know down in the comments, because obviously the new stuff that's coming out, or has come out on the 19th, it could be interesting to do some Let's Plays or some overviews of the game itself. If you're into Destiny, you're probably only playing it anyway. But if you want to see it, let me know.
I'm sure our subscribers are far too classy to want to see any of that dreck.
Well, maybe they just hate you, Lee, and they want to piss you off, and they'll just let me indulge myself.
Yeah, that does seem to be about 80% of the population, so you got a good chance.
Well, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say on the fact of Destiny. I won't go into it too much, but I'm really liking the expansion. I think from what I've seen, it's just as fun, and it's a lot more fun than just the basic game. So they've done a good job.
Okay, there is something I want to discuss.
Okay.
Just before we go, is I'd like to talk about good games. We've been very negative going through this podcast with the disappointments of E3.
Yeah, kind of set the tone, didn't it?
Bad endings, and then obviously you talking about Destiny. So I think what we should do is each of us talk about a game from our past that we actually liked and prove we're not negative Nellies.
Okay.
After you, sir.
Okay, well, I'll just point out my probable favorite game of all time, formative gaming years. It would be Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past
Fair
on the
enough.
SNES. That game was just my first. I think it was probably my first proper completion of a game as well, and it was a game that was so well put together and so just it was challenging at the right level. I remember when I was playing it as a young kid, must have been sort of 9 or 10 or something like that. When I played it the first time, it was a real challenge at certain parts. And I remember when I was probably about 22, I pulled out my SNES out of the box for the first time in God knows how long, and I completed the whole game in one evening.
Holy cow.
I just literally had a marathon session. I was sat on the floor and I couldn't move my legs because they'd gone to sleep. Um, it was just I was transfixed, and all the memories and feelings came back from that time when I was playing it the first time round. Um, it had upgradable stuff. I think it's where my love of RPGs probably started. It had gear that you could upgrade and go through levels. It had a very clear objective. It had a great story. It was a classic story. Sort of one of those save the princess type stories, but it was
She's in another castle.
but she's the whole game itself just felt like it had been put together with a lot of love. The score, the music in it is just amazing for the time, and to hear that back, I've heard many versions of the music done in with like full orchestras and people playing as like rock tracks and stuff. It's just incredible.
Hmm.
Um, it just had everything right about gaming. It was innocence, it was fun, it was just interesting. Um, you had a real sense of danger with the music. It was just perfect. So for me, that game is almost a benchmark to any other game or any other, certainly any other RPG I play as a benchmark against that, as whether it's good or not.
Have you played any of the more recent Zelda games?
I know I kind of turned off from a lot of Zelda because I wasn't involved with any Nintendo consoles.
I
Um,
mean, I've got Zelda: Link Between Worlds on my 3DS.
I know people keep on banging on about what's it, Ocarina of Time and stuff like that. Is it Ocarina
Yeah,
or is it Wind Walker is the bad one?
Wind Walker is the one with the sailing. I'm not sure if any of them are considered out and out bad, but I think Wind Walker got a bit of flack.
Normally,
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not massively up on Zelda.
but I like it, and I've got a friend who's actually got a Triforce Zelda tattoo. And as soon as I saw it, I mentioned it, and they're like, "Oh my God, you know what that is?" I was like, "Of course I do. It's like the big fucking main symbol of the entire series. So how do I not know that?"
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is, I mean, I haven't played many Zelda games. I played Ocarina of Time for like about 10 minutes, and then got pissed off by the fairy thing. But I played the first one on my Game Boy, and I liked that. And then I played The Link Between Worlds on 3DS, and it's really fucking good. I would highly recommend that.
There you go. So it's still doing its thing these days, but yeah, Link to
Absolutely
the
is.
Past on a SNES. If you can get yourself a retro console, or I don't even know if they've re-released it on DS and stuff like that.
Or you could be a criminal and emulate it.
You could do, but
We're not encouraging that, though.
Nintendo will hunt you down and steal your firstborn child.
Only if you make a YouTube video about it.
Yep. I imagine it's just saying the word Nintendo will probably get us taken down.
Well, Sega left us alone last time, so I'm hopeful we're okay.
We love the 80s. We love the 80s companies like that. It's all fine.
Okay,
Okay,
my
what's
turn.
yours? Yeah.
I think you know what mine is going to be, and that's probably Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I am so in the minority with that. It's unbelievable. I mean, I bought. I got Final Fantasy like 7. I think that was the first one on PlayStation. Yeah, it was.
hmm
For Christmas. Really liked it. Didn't understand what the fuck they were going on about.
Yeah, Final Fantasy games have that kind of problem.
It's like the Earth has power and he's draining the power from the Earth and we must stop him by becoming terrorists. Like, what? What? And then several Christmases later, my friend Jason bought me Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on PS2. I'm like, okay, it plays like Final Fantasy. Oh my god, it's got a story I can understand. And that was it. I was off and away, and I've completed that game several times, and I have never ever completed a Final Fantasy game.
Oh, I'm in the same boat. I've never completed a Final Fantasy game.
It's like I'll get really into it, and then I'll just lose interest for some reason or
I
another.
think the last one I played was Final Fantasy X, and I kept on playing. I thought it must be near the end about now. Looked up where I was. I was about 30% the way through. I just died a little inside, thinking I can't play it anymore. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, they're just so strange and they're very long, and I mean, like Final Fantasy, was it 13? Was the PS3 and Xbox 360 version one?
Yeah, I think so.
I've got it somewhere, so I should know. But it was like a case of like, yeah, play it for like 20 hours and it gets good, and you're like, oh, do I have to?
Yeah, it's more than 20 hours as well, isn't it? I mean, it's one of those
Oh,
games.
the game is massive. But it's like play it for 20 hours and then it starts to get good. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh God.
yeah, it's
But
not good. I mean, I remember playing the Third Age, and my housemate at the time was a massive fan of that game, and I used to just kind of sort of hang out, drink, and smoke while he was playing it, and I enjoyed watching it all the time because it was just the animations of stuff were really, really well done for
yeah, I mean,
PS2.
it was based on the films rather than the books, but that was great because the films were the rage at the time.
Yeah,
You wanted to fucking get in there,
yeah,
and it was interesting the way they did it because they had a lot of like outtakes from the movies that they would slip in. Like at the end, basically you bow before Aragorn. He's like, "You bow to no one." And you're like, "Yeah," he said the hobbits as well. But you do the one criticism I would have is you do fight Sauron, and he's just a giant flaming eye that you hit with your sword. It's just like what?
yeah. I mean, you have to kind of suppress that realism if you can in a fantasy universe for a little bit. Because I mean the game itself just it was working something that was working really well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it took the established mechanics from Final Fantasy, which for me have always been the strong suit of Final Fantasy. It's like you have the summons and your spells, and you level up your skills by doing the skills and all of that.
Hmm.
And there's no fucking drawing in it. Fuck drawing, no. But then you have an intelligible storyline put across it, and it's a storyline that you're interested in because it weaves in and out of the trilogy of movies as well. You're always
Yeah.
like one step behind, and you fight at Helm's Deep. And you're like, this is fucking awesome. But oh man, I just can't say enough good things about it. But it didn't review well when it came out.
No, I don't think many people knew what they were getting. I think they were probably expecting a hack and slash game.
Yeah, like the Two Towers or Return of the King,
Yeah,
which I own as well, because they're pretty damn good. They're tricky, but especially Return of the King, I think I got stuck on like the Black Gate on that one and never finished it.
yeah, but that's probably what people were expecting. They were expecting a hack and slash. They weren't expecting something that was completely kind of yeah left field to what they probably would expect. Certainly at the time, where the films are massive and it's all like the Helm's Deep, massive battle. Let's go for it, rah! And then they have this like, let's sit down and discuss what we're going to do this turn. Let's take a moment and work out if I'm going to attack or block or do a spell, etc. It wasn't that doesn't fit with the kind of mentality at the time. But I was the same way. Same as you. I really enjoyed that game. I played it a little bit, but mainly was my housemate playing at the time, and it was great. I think it was great.
Yeah, you could play it co-op, but it was all right. Careful with that.
Yep, sorry about that.
You could play it co-op, but it was skewed because player one would control two characters, and then player two would control the third. So it didn't make sense that you would have four like characters on the screen and controllable at the same time in the battles.
Yeah, I'm failing to find anything that was actually wrong with that game, apart from what you've mentioned already. Oh yeah, the full motion videos back in the day.
Here's the thing: the full motion videos are presented in like 16:9, but they're cut down in the 4:3 as well. So you've basically got like a video in. Oop, hit the mic.
Easy.
Video inside of basically the box with black bars the whole way around it. like certain cheap DVD releases do. Like I watched Firestarter on Monday, and it's just like this tiny box in the middle of your screen. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake! And then you play the game, and it'd be 4:3, and you'd be like, well, why didn't you fucking do the game 16:9, and then we could have widescreen all the way through, and it would look much better. And it wasn't released sort of at a time where widescreens were uncommon, so.
Yeah, maybe it was just a bit of an oversight. Who knows?
It's just slightly annoying.
But we've gone negative again. That's not good. But let's be honest, that was a good game.
Yes,
Link to the Past was a great game. But it was good as well. Let's not try and make two versions of goodness, but they were both great games. And I think that's a nice place to kind of bring it to a close. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well,
it's a positive, which is always a nice thing to close on, and one we struggle to come up with quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good session. I think I really enjoyed that, and I hope you guys listening in enjoyed that session as well. A bit of a podcast. I say bit; it's like an hour and a half. But if you're still with us, thank you for sticking with us. It's been fun. And I hope you've had a drink with us as well. Make sure you have a beer next time you listen.
And if you have been, now imagine spending an hour editing this shit together.
Oh, it won't be that long. Be a piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
What's the matter, you? Hey, got editing to do. Hey.
Spaghetti.
See, now we're just making it longer for Lee, which is great. So let's just talk about something else.
I've got to put a picture of fucking spaghetti up now. My God.
Well, maybe. See if you can find flying sharks. That must be easy to find.
Sharks terrify me.
Even better. How about a shark in clown's makeup flying through the sky?
I think I might be able to find a picture of a raptor riding a shark with machine guns.
That, my friend, will fucking do.
Okay. Here it is, people!
Oh,
we can't see it, but
I'll crack up if you can't find that.
Yeah, I better find it now.
Well, at least it's not my fucking face this time. So.
And we will point out to the people that you have actually changed your profile picture based on that.
Well, yes, absolutely. So I won't be having the piss taken out of me every time we do a podcast.
You did look like a serial killer. I watched a lot of serial killer documentaries. You fitted right in.
Thanks, I think.
I'm kind of worried about seeing you next weekend for the shoot now.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up for you guys. So stay tuned. And goodbye, I suppose. I don't really know how to close off a podcast. We need a saying. We need a little sign-off.
But I always say take it easy.
Okay, well, if I say, okay, goodbye, guys, and then you say, take it easy, that would work, wouldn't it?
Easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah, all right.
Take it easy.
Calm the fuck down. You'll frighten them away.
I'm overexcited again.
Another vision I don't want in my brain. Now, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for listening. This has been our second podcast. We'll be doing others in the future. This has been really fun. I've enjoyed it. Lee, have you enjoyed it?
I've enjoyed it immensely because I'm drinking beer.
Yeah, it's always a good outcome when there's beer involved. But maybe not. Certainly if you're underage, don't drink. It's bad for your kids. So, guys, thanks.
If you're underage, would you have kids?
Well, no. The flow's gone now. I was in a good flow there to finish off.
I've ruined it again.
Right, guys, thanks for listening, and see you on the next podcast / video that'll be up on our channel, Byte Gaming. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
I can't be expected to win this fight. I'm transfixed by your boobs.
I'm sick to death of the fucking bag. I'm going to tap your neck with my stick. No!
You got to stick to a shotgun fight, really?
Yep.